You know that feeling when a game suddenly reminds you why you fell in love with racing games in the first place? That moment you realise you're smiling at the screen, sweating a little, and leaning into turns like your chair could actually make you turn easier and go faster. That's the kind of moment that Superpower Racing hit me with. This isn't just another retro throwback, it's a deceptively addictive little combat racer with tight controls, chaotic weapons, and a soundtrack that pulls you right back into that classic arcade mindset. So today we're going to take a look at what makes this game so surprising, and why it might be the sleeper hit that you didn't know that you needed. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is Superpower Racing? Well, it's a top-down arcade racer developed by Monster Finger Games, a small studio known for quirky and nostalgic indie projects. This isn't trying to be the next big racer like Forza or Gran Turismo. This is a full-on arcade combat racer with bright colours, tight tracks, goofy vehicle types, and weapon pickups that turn races into chaotic miniature battles. You race along a selection of compact winding tracks, you can boost, you can fire missiles, and drop mines. You also try not to spin out and crash into a wall. It's silly, it's fun, and honestly it's exactly the kind of chaos that I grew up on. But before we dive deeper into Superpower Racing, first of all, not only do I love cars, I also happen to love boats. Which is why today's sponsor is perfect. This video is sponsored by World of Warships, because the Christmas and holiday season has kicked off in the game. But if you don't know what World of Warships is, it's a game that has had a decade of constant development and improvement, and it's a tactical team-based shooter which now has over 850 ships available for you to play, which are spread across 13 different nations. It's basically a virtual museum of naval history. There's different ship classes from destroyers, battleships, aircraft carriers, and even submarines. The game maintains a balance between gameplay and realism with some good graphics and a good variety of maps. If you log in and play this holiday season, you can unwrap an ocean of gifts and rewards, and if you just log in, you can claim a free tier 9 ship, complete with 2 permanent camouflages and 2 of Santa's gift containers. If you play each day, you can open the advent calendar to reveal a little piece of heartwarming holiday story, which will decorate the Christmas tree in the port. There's even a new map, Sunset Isles, which captures the atmosphere of the remote islands between Australia and New Guinea, a former hunting ground for Japanese submarines and a crucial passage for the Australian Navy on its way to Port Moresby. A lot of beloved content is coming back, including asymmetric battles, Santa's gift containers, snowflakes, new commanders, and the event pass. So if you want to join the Christmas celebration in World of Warships, click the link in the description below to register and play World of Warships for free today. It's also in the pinned comment down below. A massive thanks to World of Warships for sponsoring this video, and back to Superpower Racing. So what surprised me with Superpower Racing is, despite being very arcade inspired, the game actually has a nice tactile feedback loop. There's something satisfying about the rubbery handling and the hard braking on corners. It absolutely has that one more lap energy that arcade racers need to succeed. Now, the first thing that hit me, and probably the first thing you notice watching gameplay, is this absolutely retro feel. It's got that top-down view that immediately brings back games like MicroMachines, Super Off-Road, and even Death Rally if you want to go into the combat racing lineage. But more importantly, Superpower Racing doesn't feel like a clone. It's not trying to be a remaster of any specific game. It's more like the developers asked, what if the spirit of those classics survived into 2025, but we modernized the controls, added some cool weapon systems, and just made everything function much more fluidly. And honestly, that vibe works, like, really works. The graphics are clean, colourful, and readable, the cars pop off the track, the UI is modern but simple, and the whole thing has this very distinct personality that's hard to describe unless you've played a bunch of old school overhead racers. The best part is though, it's not just nostalgia alone carrying this experience for me, because it actually plays great once you get into the flow. So let's talk about the handling, because if you jump into Superpower Racing expecting Need for Speed or Horizon physics, obviously you're going to bounce off the game instantly. The handling is intentionally tight, slidey, and even a little bit twitchy, and the first 20 minutes can feel like, what am I doing wrong? But here's the thing, that's pretty much exactly how retro top-down racers worked. You have these little micro drifts around corners, you're constantly adjusting, you're tapping the stick or keys instead of holding them. And once your brain locks into that rhythm, it suddenly feels really satisfying, especially when you're getting your corner entries correct, and then you can blast out into the next straight. I personally needed like half an hour before everything started to click, but after that, it felt great. Surprisingly smooth actually, the cars respond quickly, the cornering feels tight, and when you hit that perfect line through a hairpin and sling past two AI racers, it really does feel incredible. This is a game where mastery comes from micro input. You're not steering wide arcs, you're feathering every turn, and I think the game nails that vibe. Although I will admit it took me way too long to work out the drift mechanic, so that is a little bit embarrassing for me. So what can you actually do in Superpower Racing right now? Since it's in early access, the content isn't massive yet, but there are several modes already implemented. So you've got a standard race, which is just your classic get around the track faster than the other guys, clean, simple, pure arcade racing. There's no weapons in this one, you're focused entirely on speed, angles, and clean laps. Then you've got Power Race, which is where things get a little bit rowdy. Power Race adds weapon pickups, missiles, mines, oil slicks, and it genuinely changes the entire feel of the race. You go from clean cornering to Mario Kart style chaos almost instantly. Missiles flying, some good destruction visuals, the whole thing is just a lot of fun. Then there's Time Bomb mode. This one's kind of intense. You've got a timer that's constantly ticking down, and the only way to stay alive is by hitting checkpoints. If you're slow, then you will explode. Simple as. Time Bomb mode turns every race into this frantic sprint. It's a completely different kind of stress, but in a good and kind of fun way. There is a career mode coming, but sadly it hasn't been implemented yet, but this will be coming down the line and has been confirmed by the developers. Right now the game comes with 7 tracks, 6 unique and 1 reverse night variation. And yeah, that's not a huge number, but the tracks that are here are nicely made. They're tight, they're twisty, they're full of corners that reward memorization and repetition. You can tell these aren't randomly generated or quickly thrown together, they're handcrafted and the layout matters. I appreciate that the tracks each have a visual identity. Some have this nice sunset vibe, some are urban, some more rural. The night track is gorgeous with really nice lighting effects, and they give everything this slightly futuristic glow. The dev has said that more tracks will be coming. So let's talk vehicles. There are a few in the game right now, and they all feel surprisingly different. There's a few sports cars, there's a car called the Brit, which is just a Mini, which I think is fantastic. There's a cool 4x4 that once you unlock all the paint jobs, you can actually end up looking like you're driving the Punisher's car, which is just quite cool in my eyes. Anyway, I love this lineup. It's not just the usual tiny racer, medium racer, big racer, it's fun, and each vehicle has its own personality. Different grip levels, different top speeds, and different boost abilities. And once you start playing and get a feel for all the vehicles, I'm sure you will pick your own favourite straight away, because towards the end of the game, once I'd unlocked that 4x4, I stuck with that 4x4. Now, one of the major gameplay hooks is the selection of offensive and defensive pickups. These aren't super deep, but they do add a fair bit of personality. So weapons include missiles, oil slicks, and landmines, as well as some of the tracks having speed boosts scattered around. The weapons feel satisfying without being too punishing. A missile hit spins you out, but it doesn't have to ruin your whole race. Mines are more about predicting where opponents will drive, and boost pads can give you the edge in the final straight. It's chaotic, but it's actually not unfair. Things blow up, cars spin, but you're back in the race quickly despite the entire thing looking like a Michael Bay movie. So one thing I do really want to talk about, because it really took me by surprise, is that the soundtrack is really good. Like, genuinely good. It has that upbeat retro-inspired sound, but with a modern polish.
Select your track. Please select your car.
The tracks are energetic, catchy, and fit the pacing of the game perfectly. You're drifting, weaving between cars, dodging a missile, and the music is blasting away in the background, driving the race forward. In my opinion, it really elevates the entire game, and I personally think the soundtrack is one of the strongest parts of the whole experience. Now, because this is early access, it is important to set some expectations. So as I mentioned, there's no career mode yet, but there are a few other things missing that should be implemented down the line, such as multiplayer not being available online or in local yet, and obviously there's a limited number of tracks and cars, and there are some rough edges in the balancing. And honestly, the game needs multiplayer eventually. Top-down combat races are made for local co-op chaos, but this will be something that will be added. Still, for the price, and for the foundation already here, it feels like a strong early access start. And this is a cheap game, you can pick it up for just a few pounds, it's really worth the entrance price. Now, in terms of the response to the game, because it's just launched recently, the Steam review count is tiny, but the ones that are there are positive, and that's what matters. Players mention how nostalgic it feels, how fun the chaos is, and how smooth the controls are once you adjust to the retro style. It's one of those games that needs word of mouth, and I think it's going to find its audience among retro lovers, arcade fans, and people who miss MicroMachines games. And really, if you love indie underdogs, it's going to be for you. And it's cheap. Come on guys. So is superpower racing worth your time? If you love retro arcade races, the answer is almost certainly yes. This game looks great, it has personality, it feels amazing once you adjust to the handling, the weapons add some fun depth in the power mode, and the soundtrack genuinely surprised me. Is it feature complete? No, but that's why it's early access, and that's the whole point of early access to begin with. What matters is the foundation, and the foundation here is rock solid. This is a game that knows exactly what it wants to be, and if the developer continues expanding it, polishing it, and adding multiplayer down the road, I think it could become a standout indie racer. For now, it's absolutely worth grabbing if the footage you're seeing right now is speaking to you. So what do you think of the game? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you're going to check it out, wishlist it, whatever. But if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. A massive thanks once again to World of Warships for sponsoring the video, and make sure to click that link in the description or in the pinned comments down below to check out the game. A massive shout out to my Patreon subscribers, and all I really have left to say is thanks and goodbye.